how do you get like, you can't really, I guess, get hyped up for the gym as much because you have so much training to do all the time. So how do you get excited to go in there and kick your own ass each and every time, especially by yourself?
Recently, it's just been looking at myself currently and knowing that I'm not where I know I could be. I'm looking back at old footage of where I was and it makes me hungry. I've seen the competitions getting ready for the Arnold. These guys look good. If I want to win again, I'm coming to Olympia to win. That's the only reason I'm coming there. I compete to win, and I plan on being the favorite coming in. And I know I got a lot of work to do in order to be the favorite coming in, especially if after taking a year off. I want the conversation to, right now, people are still wondering if I'm competing or not because, I haven't really made my surge of putting on the size I need to get ready for the stage. And, it's just, I'm excited for this year. It's like I said, I'm trying to do everything right this time around. And it's a really good opportunity for me to, do things the way I wanted to do them previously.
You won 4 years in a row, and then you ended up having the pec tear. Was the pec tear kind of was that something that led to you, struggling in the next one and finishing fourth, or were other people coming through where it was just getting more competitive? Like, what are some of your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think I was my best ever. 4 days out from 2018 Olympia. We had me dialed in. I was the biggest and hardest I've ever been. And it just comes down to those last final days, peaking correctly. I only prepped for I think 13, 14 weeks to actually even be able to work out, going from 174 back up to 200 pounds, back down to 186.
And you had to have your pec surgically repaired, right?
Yeah, they tendon off bone, muscle off tendon. So they told me it was they had to suture I don't know, they used a screw to screw my tendon back in the bone, and then they had to sew the pec back onto the tendon, which they said is like sewing hamburger meat together. So they told me it can just rip off anytime, so you gotta be really careful. I spent 2 months in a sling. Like most people just take their sling off right away. I wore that thing. I didn't come out of it. And I listened to my doctor up until the point where he told me I'm not gonna compete. He's like, yeah, you're not gonna compete this year. I'm like, all right, see you later. I'm gonna figure this out. And I didn't think I was, he told me that, I was like, all right, I guess it's over, and then, we're Hani and I were trying to game plan for what we're going to do after my career, after the stage. And, that was, we thought we were done. And then all of a sudden I started lifting again, and I put on size really quickly. In 4 weeks, I put on 10, 15 pounds. And Hani's like, wow, you look good. He's like, I think you can compete this year. I'm like, funny. Seriously, I think you can do it. We're 10 weeks out. I'm like, oh shit, you're for real. So let's do it. I'm like, tell me what we're doing and I'm going to win it. Fortunately, I just didn't make my peak. But if we would have nailed the peak, I don't think that I would have lost. The way I looked 3 days out was the best ever I've ever looked.
Do you think it was good for you to lose?
I think everything happens for a reason, to be honest. I don't think I would have. I learned a lot from the loss. I went through a lot of stuff from the loss and I had my life flipped upside down, but it got me to a point now where there's an understanding of it all. And now I have another chance to do things again. It's a fresh start for me. So I'm not regretting anything that happened. I'm taking it more as a lesson and understanding that I have another opportunity. So I just hope other people see that too. That's the most important thing.
Do you think it'll be harder in a way because you have had controversy surrounding you? So then now you're going to go back on the stage and oh shit, here's this guy again. Maybe people have developed certain thoughts about you due to various controversies that have come up.
Absolutely.
And then also, you were, dominant for 4 straight years. And I think admittedly, you kind of said that you were fairly cocky, is what you were kind of alluding to earlier. And so do you think some of that's going to be weighing against you a little bit? And, how do you plan on dealing with that? Just to flat out fucking be a lot better than everybody else or the best you can?
It comes down to it. The judges are people within the industry. They're people that are promoters, or people that, I've dealt with in the past. And there's going to be probably some people in that panel that aren't the fans of Jeremy Buendia. And I understand that. And I got 6.5 months to, do things like I'm doing right now and get back on there and recreate myself and, show people that there's a difference between me, 2 years ago and who I am now. So, I'm honestly, I'm not afraid of it because I know what I'm up against. I know what I got to do. And if people aren't going to accept it, then I've done my part, and I can't control anybody else. As long as I know what I needed to do, I'm going to be solid. So Um, I'm interested to see how it's going to turn out this year, how people are going to respond to me. I don't know. You know, I do have a lot of fans still. I know that. I have a lot of support. I know I have a lot of people, you know, in the men's physique that follow men's physique really want me back. They really want me back as a champion.
Yeah.
I know that. I'm still, you know, I still get a lot of love, and I know that, you know, it'd be good for the sport to have me back on top.
I know a lot of celebrities and a lot of people that have had, you know, they've gone through some hard times. They may have put themselves in those situations themselves, but when people shoulder the responsibility and they say like, hey, like this is what I've done wrong, when they come back, it's usually stronger than ever. You know, Muhammad Ali had to deal with racism, but he also had to deal with being a, you know, draft dodger, right? A black guy in the 60s and 70s dodging the draft. Like, holy shit, you can't come back from that one, you know? But he did, because he shouldered the responsibility, and his thoughts on it, you know, were communicated to the public. And a lot of people were like, yeah, like, I kind of agree with that. And then when he came back, he got back in the ring. He was still entertaining in the ring. And I think, you know, sometimes people are able to put maybe some of their thoughts, maybe the people that loved watching him box, maybe they were still racist as hell, but they still loved to watch him fight, and they still loved what he was able to do and what he's able to bring, the excitement. So maybe in this case, maybe some people will be able to kind of detach, you know, some of those feelings, some of those thoughts. And also maybe you can flip a lot of those people around.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that's the ultimate goal is, man. Like I'm not a kid anymore. You know, I'm gonna be 30 this year, and this is the industry that I'm in. You know, I'm not going anywhere else, and I want to be able to be a part of this and be an active, positive contributor to the organization, because, you know, I do have a lot. Like I said, I have a lot of people that look up to me and follow me, and I want to be a good example for them on how to navigate through and how to do the right things.
You know, on that topic of like navigating through everything, I hear Mark said that you said you felt cocky in the past, I guess when you were on top or something. So when you look back at that, you mentioned everything happens for a reason. Mm-hmm. I know you, like, I guess the way you were, you learned from that, but what do you wish maybe you could have changed in terms of the way you were going about things when you were winning? I don't know how you were cocky or what actions you were taking, whatever.
It was a sense of entitlement, man. It was also a sense of my own insecurity as well. I was a young kid, you know, walking around with the top.
You can learn a lot from this Nsima.
I was
a young kid walking around with the top dogs in the industry, you know,
Yeah.
like the greats of the sport, you know. I was in that little circle trying to fit my way in that circle.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't really necessarily feel I belonged to be there right off the bat, but I was already there. So it was like,
you were the second men's physique Olympia, right?
Yeah. Okay. I won the second one, arguably, you know. I should have won the first one. I was right there, second place.
Oh, snap. Okay.
And that was my second pro show ever. So I went to Olympia. I was no name and took second. So, got a little tough what we were just talking about.
Like where you were like hanging out with the greats and you didn't feel like
you know,
were
and
there?
it was a lot of it. I you know, it was just immaturity on my behalf, you know, of trying to, and I also listening to the wrong people. I had somebody in my ear that I was doing business with, that led me down the wrong path. He put a lot of shiny things in front of me that I thought I liked,
Mm-hmm.
and it got me distracted from the goal and the people that were really there by my side, and it kind of created a distance between, you know, the people on my side and, you know, what was on the outside, and it hurt a lot of things. But learning to trust the right people and not getting bad with the snakes is something a lot of people got to be careful with, you know, especially in business, especially in industry.
It's hard because I think that happens to a lot of people. I mean, even with myself, you know, my wife is always well-meaning, right? But my wife is like a protector of mine, you know, like she's like, no, don't, you know, we're not doing that. Or like, I kind of understand now a lot better. But in the beginning, when people would come at me for certain things, I always wanted to be like, well, why wouldn't I do stuff with that? Exactly. It sounds like it'd be cool, it'd be a fun opportunity. And she was like kind of the one to kind of show me, you know, to, you know, stick to our guns and to kind of, I guess, you know, do our own thing, our own way. And luckily for me, she always had my best interest, you know, at heart. And obviously, you know, for both of us too, it was kind of a work in progress to figure these things out. But man, it's hard to figure out who to go with or who to be with, or it can be really confusing. And in your position, you had more people probably tugging you in different ways. And, you know, it's hard to maybe develop like loyalty. It's hard to maybe develop consistency with a specific brand. I mean, we go to the shows all the time, and this guy's with this company, and then next year he's with that company, and next year he's with that company, and and then we also see the switching of this guy's with this girl, and now this this guy's with this girl, and now this, and we're just like kind of watching it all kind of unfold, and it happens a lot, but it's not only in the fitness industry. Like it's literally everywhere. When you go home at the end of the day and someone's like, well, what'd you get paid for that? And you tell them, they say, that ain't right. Jeremy, like, you're the whole fucking show. Like, what's going on here? Why aren't you getting more? And you're like, I don't know. It sounded like it was going to be a good time. I don't know. It sounded like a cool relationship. And that's how things end up going south. And then you feel like you're being slighted. And then you go back to the other, and it goes back and forth, and it just becomes a giant mess.
Yeah.